It's a Monday. It's the 12th day of February, 2024. Your Day Weather Podcast being brought to you by Hot Springs County Travel and Tourism. Head to Thermopolis to swim, soak, and slide. No matter how cold and snowy it gets, it's always a great place to be sitting in hot water in Thermopolis. Well, it is going to be a quiet start to the week after a little bit of a snow event for parts of Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas, and New Mexico and parts of the Southern Plains as we started the weekend, leaving behind beautiful scenes of snow-covered peaks like Pikes Peak there near Colorado Springs. But it's going to be high pressure today and tomorrow for the most part. We are going to see, though, a series of small systems during the middle to the end of the week and into the weekend coming in from the Pacific Northwest and western areas of Canada. And I think this is best described as pretty typical February weather that we're going to have this week. It is going to get colder. We talked last week about a high pressure ridge building in western Canada. That's going to happen. So that opens the door to nothing bitterly cold, but it is going to trend colder during the second half of the week and the weekend. And with that will be some snow chances. Now, what we're going to see this week and into the weekend is the more active weather for more of the northern part of the West. This would be the Pacific Northwest, part of the northern Rockies, and part of the northern plains. While the southern areas that really have gotten most of the action lately are going to have a little bit of a break in the weather. Some beautiful shots coming in from over the weekend of clouds, and as I just showed you, snow-covered mountain peaks, even snow-covered mountain peaks all the way just north of Phoenix in the Superstition Mountains there. And as we showed you last week, really big gains in the snowpack in the desert Southwest over the last couple of weeks. So a lot of those mountains, even pretty far south, sprinkled in a little bit of snowfall. As we go forward, beginning here to start the week, satellite imagery shows a couple of things to highlight. One, this right here, this is actually the low that brought the snow late Friday and Saturday to parts of the Intermountain West and the plains. This low here is going to head up and cause a lot of weather in the northeastern United States. So this will be gathering a lot of headlines for the northeastern corridor of the U.S. High pressure and fair weather, though, right here. A lot of what you're seeing right here is just some high and mid-level cloudiness. But you can see across the North Pacific, plenty of weather going on. And it's going to be this weather right here moving in, then up and down later in the week that's going to cause our weather. So this is where we're going to be this afternoon. There's this high pressure ridge been along the west coast. There's the low headed towards the northeastern areas of the United States. But you see these little, it doesn't look like much. These little ripples, though, in the atmosphere coming in from the northwest. In the winter, these little ripples, when they come in from the northwest to the southeast, they do tend to produce a little bit of weather. They also tend to drag in a little bit of colder air from British Columbia and Alberta, push it into Montana, the northern plains, and then spill along the divide. So with this high pressure ridge building, that's going to open the door to some colder air coming south into the region. Today and tomorrow, so through Tuesday afternoon, that northwest to southeast flow is going to produce precipitation where you see the gray, the blue, and the green. So you can see northwest Montana, parts of southern Canada here, but even some snow showers over northern and northwestern areas of Wyoming will be possible over the next 48 hours, while very quiet in this area right here. As the week unfolds, as we get into Valentine's Day, Wednesday, into Thursday and Friday, we'll see more of this coming in from the northwest. So this is where the snow is going to fall between today and tomorrow. So you can see Montana's northern mountains here that need snow desperately to help the snowpack. They're going to get some, but it's going to be the northern areas that have the action here at the beginning of the week. Now, by Friday, that high pressure ridge expands and really pushes north all the way up to the Arctic Circle there, and that is going to open the door to colder air. Now, I think initially the really bitter cold air will still stay up north, but it is certainly going to be colder air spilling south into this region right here. And this is going to produce some weather because this very cold air coming in from the north is going to interact with southwest winds coming off the Pacific. This is where you get a little Pacific and you'll get a little Canada working together. And that's always a very efficient way to bring weather. We don't expect anything really big, but as we get into Thursday, Friday, Saturday time frame, the combination of this Pacific moisture and the colder Canadian air will produce a little bit of weather. There you can see by Friday, this is by around noon Friday, the colder air spills in along the divide and spreads out across the plains. And then that more mild, more moist air from the Pacific comes over on top and intersects with that. And here's the end result. What you're going to see is this is the second round of precipitation getting further south, and then look at California again. Initially, central and northern California will see the heavier moisture get in the Pacific Northwest, but it does get all the way back down towards LA again as we get into the early parts of next week. So there's going to be more Pacific weather coming a little bit further down the road as we get into the weekend and next week. And that's the next thing to talk about after this period of weather that's coming. The colder air coming down the divide here, overrun by the Pacific moisture, is going to produce a light to moderate snow event in this area right here during the second half of the week and into the start of the upcoming weekend with that colder air right there. And there you can see the snowfall that's going to occur over the next week. So this is cumulative from today through next Monday. It's nothing to write home about, but it's going to stay an active pattern. And as we mentioned, this is going to be more into the northern areas of the Rockies and Plains as opposed to where a lot of the action has been here recently. So a little bit more of a northern bias. So for you folks in northern Wyoming, the Black Hills country of South Dakota, the plains of South Dakota, you're going to get a little bit of winter, but also another nice shot of snow for the ski areas of Colorado and southern Wyoming and western Wyoming and the northern Wasatch over the next 7 days. Pretty much a typical mid-February situation weather-wise. Longer term, this is by next Monday, and here's the next low crashing the California coast. And a lot of that rain and snow we showed you along the west coast is going to be happening late in the weekend and early next week, and then we'll see where this system heads east as we get into around Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So the pattern is going to be staying active. Have yourself a good Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.